She thought she was just giving an old man a ride to the hospital, until one phone call revealed his identity and introduced her to someone who would change her life forever. The sun had barely risen in Denver when Emily Carter, 26, spotted the old man near the gas station. His wrinkled hand trembled as he tried to wave down a ride, his jacket far too thin for the morning chill. She was already running late for her second job at the bakery, but something in the way he leaned against the lamppost, exhausted but still polite, made her slow her car. She rolled down her window. "Sir, are you okay? Trying to get to the hospital?" he said with a raspy breath. "My appointment's at 9. Buses are all delayed." Emily glanced at her dashboard clock. She'd be late, again, but she sighed and unlocked the door. "Hop in." "I'll take you. They didn't talk much during the drive." He sat quietly, clutching a worn envelope in his lap, the name Harold stitched onto his hat. "Thank you, young lady," he said softly as they pulled up to the ER entrance. "You didn't have to do this. You looked like you needed someone too," she replied with a smile. He reached into his coat, fumbling for something. "Please, at least let me pay for your gas." "No," she said quickly. "Just get better, okay?" He paused, looking at her with eyes full of something she didn't expect. Depth. "Respect people like you are rare," he said. "My grandson should meet you," she chuckled. "Yeah? And what does he do?" The old man smiled mysteriously. "He works with numbers." Emily waved goodbye and drove off, thinking that was the end of it, but it wasn't. Because an hour later, while wiping down trays in the bakery, her phone rang from an unknown number. "Miss Carter?" a deep voice asked. "My name is Ethan Hale. You gave my grandfather a ride this morning." She froze. That name, Ethan Hale, founder and CEO of Hale Tech, the youngest billionaire in the state. "He told me about you," Ethan continued. "And I don't usually do this, but I'd really like to meet you." Emily nearly dropped the tray, because the favor she gave without thinking had just opened a door she never expected to walk through. Emily almost didn't go. The idea of meeting a billionaire, even one who sounded kind over the phone, felt surreal. What would she even wear? Say? Why would someone like Ethan Hale want to meet someone like her? But Harold's soft voice echoed in her mind. "People like you are rare." So she said yes. And the next day, she found herself walking through the tall glass doors of Hale Tech headquarters, heart pounding. The receptionist greeted her with a knowing smile. "He's been expecting you, Miss Carter." She was escorted up to the 42nd floor. The elevator doors opened to reveal a sleek, sunlit office with floor-to-ceiling windows. And standing by the desk was Ethan. Late 30s, crisp white shirt, no tie. Calm eyes, the kind of quiet confidence that didn't need to speak loudly to be heard. He smiled and stepped forward. "You must be Emily. And you must be someone very busy," she replied nervously. He chuckled. "Today, I made time." They sat across from each other, and for a few moments, the room was still. "My grandfather doesn't talk about people often," Ethan said. "But he mentioned you more than once in just one phone call. Said you didn't just give him a ride, you treated him like someone who mattered." Emily shrugged. "He did matter. He looked tired. I'd hope someone would do the same for my grandfather." Ethan studied her for a long moment. "You didn't take his money. It wasn't about money." He leaned back, impressed. "We need people like you in this company." Her brows lifted. "You're offering me a job?" "An opportunity. Entry level, yes, but with mentorship, education assistance, and room to grow. You deserve better than rushing between jobs and barely surviving. Let me help open a door. You earned it." Emily blinked, overwhelmed. "You don't even know me." "I know who you were when no one was watching," he said. "That's more important than any resume." That night, Emily walked home in the cold. But she didn't feel it. She had no title, no special degree, no connections, just one simple act of kindness. And now? Her life was about to change forever. 2 weeks later, Emily stepped into the Hale Tech headquarters again. But this time, not as a visitor. She wore her first ever office badge, a thrifted blazer, and the same humble smile that had caught Harold's attention that rainy morning. Her new role, operations assistant, a position that most saw as basic, but to Emily, it was the open door she never dreamed she'd see. Every day she arrived early, eager to learn, and every day she stayed late, asking questions no one expected her to ask. She organized files like a system engineer, streamlined delivery logs without being asked, spoke to staff like they mattered, because they did. Ethan noticed. One evening, as she was helping the evening crew sort through shipment delays, he passed by and stopped in the doorway. "You weren't supposed to be here after 6. She looked up, cheeks flushed. "I know, but the supply glitch from yesterday, I figured out the lag. It was a time zone error in the auto input field." He blinked. "Seriously?" She handed him a sheet of notes. "Simple fix. I highlighted the trigger point." He studied her in quiet awe. "How do you know this stuff?" "I don't," she said, laughing. "I just notice things." "Remind me again, where did you study?" "Nowhere. Couldn't afford it." "Then you're the most talented, untrained analyst I've ever seen." The next day, he moved her into the logistics and tech team. Her new job? Work directly under his lead project manager. And that wasn't all. Ethan personally arranged for her to take night classes, fully funded, at the university she had once walked past every day, thinking she'd never belong. But amidst the rising career and growing responsibilities, Emily didn't forget the moment it all began. One rainy morning. One old man in need. One choice she never hesitated to make. And now, as she walked the halls of a billion-dollar company, she still carried that quiet memory. Because the road to this new life hadn't started with luck or a resume. It started with empathy. And one person noticing. When no one else did, months passed, and Emily's world transformed. From late-night diner shifts to evening lectures in data systems, from borrowed Wi-Fi at the library to presenting flow optimizations in conference rooms. She was still the same girl who offered rides in the rain. But now, she carried herself like someone who belonged. Ethan continued to check in, never overbearing, always supportive. One day he found her in the campus cafe, bent over her laptop, surrounded by open notebooks. "Most people take a break after work," he joked. She grinned. "I'm not most people." "That," he said, "is exactly why this next part is going to make sense." He slid a small folder across the table. Inside, a formal offer letter. Associate Program Director, Hale Tech Logistics Division, full salary, benefits, tuition reimbursement, office of her own. Emily stared at it, stunned. This has to be a mistake." "No mistake," he said. "You've earned every line of it." She pressed a hand to her chest. "You believed in me before I ever had a chance. You gave someone a ride when you had nothing to gain. That told me everything I needed to know." Later that year, at the company's annual gala, Ethan took the stage to present the Harold Hale Human Spirit Award, a new honor created in his grandfather's name. And the first recipient? Emily Carter. The audience stood in ovation as she walked up, tears in her eyes, hugging Harold, now fully recovered and beaming from his front row seat. She took the mic and looked out at the crowd. Kindness doesn't need credentials. It doesn't check your bank account. It just sees someone who needs help and says, yes. I didn't know who Harold was when I stopped that day. but I knew he mattered. And now, because of that one moment, everything in my life has changed. In the years that followed, Emily not only led major logistics innovations at Hale Tech, she also launched her own nonprofit that offered transportation and job coaching for low-income women in the city. But no matter how far she rose, she kept a photo on her desk. An old man, a folded umbrella in his lap, and a worn smile. The day it all began, because she never forgot. Sometimes you don't need a title to change your life. You just need one yes. On a rainy day, to a stranger with shaking hands, and everything can follow.